Kyle McCord came out of the Notre Dame game with a huge win, with sort of a signature moment, a signature throw even, a 2-minute drill at the end of a game that culminates in a big 3rd and 19 completion that culminates in the game-winning touchdown run. A lot of positives came out of that game. A lot of things he still wanted to work on, though. Stephen, you wanted to know from Ryan Day today, what's the next step for Kyle McCord? Where does he need to show growth coming out of this off week and going into a game against a Maryland defense that has been playing pretty well through admittedly not Notre Dame level of competition through the first 5 games?
Yeah, my thinking is that there's steps, right? And we were talking about this, Nathan, on the Monday, but there's winning the job. That's step 1. And then what happens when you have to, play a big game? That's step 2. Okay, you've gotten through both of those, and you've passed that. Whether you've gotten an A, B, C, whatever, you've passed it. Now it's almost, can you put your imprint on the team? We saw that with Justin Fields. We saw that with C.J. Stroud. They still use colloquialisms from when C.J. Stroud was here, saying stuff like, it's not about me proving you wrong, it's about me proving myself right. They say that all the time now. And it's time for Kyle McCord to start doing that. They use the philosophy of, you're not just trying to get a job. It's what comes after that job, and that's growth on the football field. That's growth in the locker room and everywhere around that. So that's what I want to see. I think on Saturday it's about, can this offense take that next step? We've yet to see this offense score 40 points against a defense with any level of competence yet. Maybe that gets going now because he's building more confidence, but also you're coming off a bye week, so you've had 2 weeks to prepare for that. But I just want to see what's next from Kyle McCord, both as a football player and as a leader, as we get to know more about him over the next couple of months here.
I remember writing that at the time, that they made the decision and made him the full-time starter. I'm like, okay, well, now the challenge begins. Like, okay, you won the quarterback competition, but now the tough part starts, because now you have to actually go out and beat defenses that are now going to start to be designed to account for what you do as a quarterback and take you out and limit you. And Andrew, what have you seen from Kyle McCord through these first few games that gives you an indication of what now will come next? Like, what is the step that he needs to take?
Well, I think what you've seen that's a good sign is it's a cliche, but Ryan Day was talking about it, just how level-headed he is and how even-keel he is, because it would have been really easy for him to kind of mentally lose it against Notre Dame in that, especially that last drive where it was 3rd and 10 and then 4th and 7 and 3rd and 19, and there were all these moments where you can lose your head, and he threw the almost interception after you complete the 4. There was a lot going on there that you saw him kind of rebound from. And that's kind of given you the positive of, okay, there's a baseline here. Okay, there's a level of play here that you can come to expect from Kyle McCord. Where I want to see him grow, and I think, obviously, when you talk about the quarterback, it's the whole offense. It's what can you do to make defenses pay for the things that they're going to try to do? Because they're going to try to take away Marv. So how do you make them pay by getting the ball to Emeka, by getting the ball to Cade Stover, by getting the ball to anybody else on this offense that is going to maybe take defenses out of that? Or you're just going to say, you know what, Emeka's going to have 200 yards today and we're going to win the game because, Marv's going to get 4 catches for 35 yards and we're going to win 52-10 because, they're just going to take them away the whole game. You've got to make people pay for that. You've got to make people pay. I know this isn't specifically Kyle McCord, but I do think improving in the passing game does open up the running game a little bit. You passed a run, so I just think that would – I understand. Trust me, I understand. I've said that all along, and you don't believe me. But you pass to run the ball, and I think that, you start to throw the ball really effectively. Kyle McCord starts to make some really good throws, starts to dot some I's on the field there. You're going to see lighter boxes, and that's going to be very, very good for this offensive line and very, very good for this running game. So how can you make defenses pay for what they're trying to give you? We've seen that he's good. Can he be great?
The one thing that's missing from Kyle McCord's numbers so far is a lot of touchdown passes, and that's a little bit misleading, though. You had the one to Marvin Harrison Jr. against Indiana that was taken away. You had the one against, he throws it down to the 1-yard line against Notre Dame. I mean, it doesn't get you in the end zone, but I mean, it gets you right there. So the Ibuka drop for a touchdown, there's multiple ones that have kind of been left on the field a little bit. I do think that, though, is maybe the next step for him as a passer is how are you getting more of those explosive touchdowns. I know a lot of talk today here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center about how this defense is limiting explosive plays. This offense, I think, is still striving to get that explosiveness back, especially as it relates to the explosive touchdown plays. Trevion Henderson had the great run that he broke off against Notre Dame. There just haven't been as many of those on the defensive side, and we've seen right now that when this offense has to work for 1 yard, sometimes that's harder for it than having to work for get a chunk of 30, 40 yards at a time. So they've had some of those big plays. Don't get me wrong. There was the Xavier Johnson 40-yard play against Notre Dame, the big Marvin Harrison Jr. touchdown early this season where he got behind the defense. It's all there. I think they want to start seeing it with more frequency, and I think that's something that as Kyle McCord gets more experience, has studied film more, is even more in the vibe of what this offense is. I think those things are going to come, and that's something to look for possibly against Maryland as early as this week. A lot more about this on Buckeye Talk all week. Find that wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315. Analysis, commentary, news as soon as we hear it about Ohio State from cleveland.com.